Meeting of the Park Commission on October 19th to order. And first order of business is Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Glad that we have a quorum. If anybody has a conflict of interest, they can disclose it now. And I will make one adjustment to the agenda. I think we'll bring up under number 9, pickleball and tennis players who sit in the audience this evening. We'll bring that up and deal with that first here. So in our last meeting, just to give you guys some history, which you probably know, maybe Jim passed along to you. There've been some people that have come to us in discussions about what can we do down at the tennis courts to accommodate the pickleball players, where we have a sign up there for the limited time for play and some issues that have come up, I guess. So last meeting or 2 meetings ago, we had Pat get some information for us about what other areas are doing, and I think he just handed the packets out to you. And I'm just gonna hand that over to you, Pat, if you just wanna give some background to that.
Basically, what you're looking at right there is just examples of layouts. It's not something we've decided on, but it's basically, you got what it looks like for a single court. You could fit 2 pickleball on a tennis court. We have new courts that are eventually going to be coming into a closet, and on a single court, you can have up to 4 pickleball games. We're in the planning mode, trying to think of ways to bring tennis and pickleball together. And like down in the park, we got a lot of problems with signage. You know, basically what the sign is saying right now is, you know, it's mostly about tennis. So one of those pages, I have an example of a sign. I mean, that's the start, you know, basically explaining the rules with pickleball and tennis together. You know, we asked you all to come tonight because we want to hear some feedback. You know, if you guys have some issues you want to talk about that could help out, you know, as we plan going forward. But basically, these are all examples. There's one that has 4 courts on one. That's just, I just threw that in there because, you know, it's an example of a full tennis court, but you can actually use it as a pickleball, you know, 4 pickleball courts, depending on, you know, what direction the town's going. Or, like I said, these are all examples, and now it's mainly trying to get feedback from the public, you know, on your thoughts, help us go forward.
On a typical Sunday morning
Yep.
at the court by the chamber, we've seen up to 16 people.
Yeah,
And one time we even brought in a portable pickleball court, so we had 3 courts going. And even then, we had people waiting their turn
yeah.
to play. So I believe that we should maximize the number of courts, because the number of people that come now is very large, and I think the number is just going to continue.
It's a growing sport. So, but at the same time, we don't want to take the tennis away, you know.
No, it doesn't. No, I
We
would,
wanna
you
keep
know,
it.
the way you have it, you know, drawn out here is ideal, because you have a tennis court, you have a fixed net for tennis. And then as far as the pickleball nets, you can have portable pickleball nets, but I think the lines should be drawn in advance, so that someone can come in and plop down their net on the existing line court.
For sure. Thanks.
Typically, do they do those in a different color? I'm just curious.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, so you can.
Currently at the
Well, dark blue and green are too close together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like something red or orange.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tennis is white and we painted the pickleball blue. It seems to work, you know, you just say to yourself, blue lives matter.
And then the other thing too is, you know, talking about this and the portable nets, you know, trying to figure out like a little storage, like outside the tennis court where we could have certain people that are there all the time that have access, because they're gonna have to come on and off every time you play. And, you know, like on a Sunday, you couldn't come to the town office and pick up a tennis net or, you know,
What if there were a combination?
oh, that's what I mean, yeah.
I've even seen places that have ball dispensers, just tall things that multiple balls go in.
So,
And the other thing that I've seen in a lot of courts, I don't think it's absolutely necessary, but soft, sort of soft dividers. Because you really don't run into issues with people crossing over the lines into the other court, but you always have issues with balls rolling
yeah,
into the other courts. And so something that, when I say soft, so no one runs into it and kills themselves, not like a Jersey barrier, but.
well, especially if you have two courts, I mean, two tennis courts, then having that divider is probably key.
And the tennis players don't mind either.
Yeah.
So, because we play there, most of the time there aren't pickleball players, they just have their certain days.
Yeah.
And chasing the balls all over the place, we wouldn't mind it, but it's usually just
Yeah.
you know, like a screen. Little
And
something or-
the other thing working out,
Yeah.
trying to work it out is the scheduling. You know, I know you guys come in large groups, so when you say like an hour limit, it's kind of tough when you got 20 people want to play. I mean,
That hour limit sort of doesn't, it pertains if you have someone comes in at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And someone else is waiting, they wanna come in.
Yeah.
But when we come in en masse, what happens is that 1 hour really doesn't apply in the sense that if someone comes, they just join us.
Yeah.
And we continually rotate and give everyone a fair chance to play, so they get in the rotation. And
Yeah.
so the hour is sort of not pertinent to the way in which we do it.
yeah, I mean, the hour limit's more, you know, the tourists that come in and play tennis, you know, and we're busy. You know, like when you get the large groups,
Yeah.
it makes it tough. So,
Yeah, because in tennis, it's usually only 4, and we need an hour, but we'll play over if nobody comes, we get a lot of somebody comes, but if we don't come in mass, we spread out over the.
yeah,
And currently what we do, and hopefully in the outdoor courts, is that there's a different way of scoring, what we call rally scoring,
Yeah.
which shortens the time it takes to play a single game. So when we have people who are waiting, they're not waiting long, so you play the game, the winners stay in, you bring in 2 more people, okay, I mean, so the rotation keeps going, so that's why the hour schedule isn't
Yeah.
necessarily.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
So is this, can I just ask, is it typical etiquette that most people who play would do that? Or do we run into
yeah.
people who, if they're not part of who's playing, want to take it more than like that? I'm just trying to figure that
Kind
part
of
out.
majority rules, they're
Okay.
welcome.
Yep.
Okay, we welcome folks to come in, but yeah, majority rules kind of.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was just curious if the
Yeah.
signage, if we're talking about the signage, is that something that needs to be up because we're running into the problem of it? Or it sounds like most of you folks, kind of, there's a system that's kind of working.
The biggest thing right
Just
now
curious.
is the sign that's up there
Mhm.
is basically just focused on tennis.
Gotcha,
So,
It's a good idea to put a sign up.
okay,
I
yeah,
mean, we may go and care for one another and make sure everybody gets a chance to play. But not everybody.
not everybody's that
Not
way,
everybody that's coming in, you know, if they're coming from away or whatever,
Yeah.
you don't know.
do it differently.
yeah,
We do.
If I could say something else, and you know, I hate to bring up something controversial, particularly since I have 2 tennis players on either side.
I do pickleball.
But the biggest issue that has caused arguments and conflicts between us is the concept of reserving
yeah,
time at the court. And I think that's something that needs to be addressed.
it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, basically, it may come down to permits, or like if you have large, really extremely large groups, and you gotta be there for multiple hours. I mean, I think the tennis they've had the end of the year bashes before or something.
Yes.
And you guys, I actually read a permit. in the
Yeah, we
recent-
get permits if we.
Yeah, where you have the tennis
If we
court.
wanna use 2 courts.
Yeah, you had the tennis court for like 3 or 4 hours or
Yeah.
celebrate your end of the year. But that's the thing we have to kind of work on, for sure.
I mean, just to give an example, on any given Sunday, to have, say, a tennis group come in and say, it's 9 o'clock, we get the court now.
But we don't schedule on Sunday.
I know, but
That's an
is,
example.
let's say hypothetically, as, you know, as though this has happened in the past as
Yeah.
well. That to come in and say, it's our court, you know, and try to throw us off the court.
It's-
And that's something we would like to avoid and
Yeah,
work together to a solution to that.
it's a public court. I mean, you all gotta remember, it's a public court, and it's nobody's court for a certain time. I mean, when you have large groups, it might come down to, you know, maybe we fill a permit for this certain amount of time. You know, but we gotta try to figure out the rules where, you know, we gotta remember it's open to the public. And, you know, try to figure out a schedule, because, I mean, you guys are a large group coming in, so it's a tough, it's something we gotta figure out.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah, we've tried very hard not to schedule on their Thursdays, and so we don't schedule weekends for our tennis group. And I made a mistake on one Thursday. The first one was the beginning of the season, I thought maybe it was okay. And we had a person need a bathroom, need my bathroom. So the second time was just a mistake, and that's when all hell broke loose on one time, it was the one time. We
Yeah.
try not to schedule on Thursdays. They can have the courts, both courts on Thursday. We have like 50 people on my list, and we never schedule 2 courts at one time.
yeah, and I mean, if you got 50 people that are gonna show up, I mean,
But I don't
Basically,
schedule
we
them
gotta
all
figure
at
out
the
a
same
permit.
time.
yeah, I
don't
know,
schedule them
you,
all at
yeah,
the same time.
yes,
Yeah, I think that's the big difference. I know I've been involved with Amy's group now for 3 years. It's just the distribution I counted, we have 36 people that regularly play.
Yeah.
But we never send more than 4 people to the tennis court at one time, and you
Yes.
see 30 or 40 people from pickleball. So there's this misconception that
yeah,
there's a lot more demand for pickleball than there's tennis. What we do is we have private courts up there we use, right?
Yeah.
And then we use one of these courts, and so there's gotta be something we work out where we don't have, you know, big groups just showing up and it's crazy, we shouldn't be arguing over it.
And
Because ironically, there's a lot more court time than there is demand for it, right?
Yeah.
But everyone wants it at 8 or 9 o'clock,
yeah,
you know, and so I think it's pretty simple that we could probably figure this out, but.
Yeah, because if, you know, I schedule it almost every day, you know, in the court, and it's only on Thursdays that there's an issue. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, maybe once or twice, there will be pickleball people there. You know, and those were not this group, that was usually, you know, visitors or whatever.
I mean, there's a lot of things we can think about, I mean, if you guys all like that Thursday spot, maybe it's like every other Thursday. You do
Oh,
a
we'll give it to
rotation,
them, we'll give them.
you know, you do a
Yeah.
rotation or,
You're given the Thursday?
Yeah, we only scheduled once.
Yeah, well, it was more than once, but it was,
No, it's,
no,
the first one's the second week of the schedule. Oh, and there weren't that many people back.
yeah.
There was another issue. On the only other time, and I admit it was my mistake. I forgot. I put a little R by their name instead of some other clue.
So we don't really have, you know, the group that plays at the chamber, it's not an organized group. You know, it's not a league or anything like that, it's just, we just happen to show up and play by agreement. And so, you know, we say Thursday, we don't know what day it'll be next year. You know, right now, one of the things, you know, on my track had is that Tuesdays and Fridays, we don't schedule because a large number of the pickleball players do go on track hikes. So that's one of the reasons why it's not scheduled on those days, but that doesn't mean it couldn't be or shouldn't be.
But if we have more courts,
Yes, if you had those four courts,
That would really.
that would solve, that would,
What's the
No.
big deal with four coats on that space? Lines.
No, it's,
In the
there's,
closet.
there's really no big
Oh, that's a
deal.
classic?
Hmm.
Oh, okay.
So
I don't think it's
we
been for-
we got the new courts coming in there, classic, and on a single court, that was a possible layout, you know, and
That would be,
that would be, yeah.
Yeah, I would max.
right now, the engineer is in almost the finishing stages of, planning.
That plan.
great.
And I talked to him today, just, kind of explained to him what I was doing, you know, tonight, and, told him about that plan, he thought it was great, I mean.
Patty, can I just ask, and maybe this was something that was discussed at the last meeting and I wasn't there. The court that we have, the size of the court that we have right now.
Yep.
Can this, in a Rangeley, can this accommodate this layout, or
The
is
four-
only a Quasit going to be able to accommodate that?
This could accommodate the Rangeley court, the four, you know, one.
Okay.
But you'd have to have a divider in
Gotcha.
between the two
Okay.
courts to keep the balls from.
yeah, we need some temporary fencing or something like
Yeah.
that.
So I mean, there's a lot of planning to do if we were to go that direction.
But if we could turn one of those courts into 4, right, obviously
Yeah,
that goes.
At
a
least
long
one
way.
of
Or leave a lot of pressure.
and you know, we're not
Yeah.
talking a lot of money, we're really not. I mean, you have to fix the tennis court in Classic anyway.
Well, that's
It's
our- yeah.
dangerous for all.
Mhm.
And then there's a crack in Rangeley too, on that other court, while they're here.
So. Me, Tennis, the company, I think they're out of Great Gloucester, I actually talked to them today and I'm trying to get them up here for an estimate on the crack repair. They're supposed to be closing some courts in town, some local courts, so he's gonna contact me, he's gonna come and look at the court. And he can't be here till August, that's how far out he is. But I have him scheduled if I can't find anything else, you know, but I'm gonna get an estimate on the crack repair and
Yeah, well, that,
How have you tried Vermont for tennis?
we have, same thing, there's, you know,
pickleball is so big, you know.
they're so busy right now, it's crazy.
But the lines that we have in Rangeley, the local people did.
Yeah.
So as long as it's okay, I mean, because the construction on the court in Quasic is probably local people, like M&H or somebody, I don't know.
We're not that far out yet.
Yeah, we're still in the planning
You
phase.
know, that's not tennis companies or whatever, 'cause you're talking the lines,
Yeah.
right?
The
And repairs.
excavation, I think we might be keeping in-house, but when it comes to the asphalt, and we're doing the actual courts, you know, whatever company we decide on will come in and do that work.
So what are the courts lined for down there right now that you lined out?
So right now, we have 2 tennis courts, but only 1 pickleball court on each
One.
tennis court, which uses the existing tennis net.
Gotcha.
And I think these plans that really, we can get 2 on a court, would be even better.
Right.
Or 4 on a double court,
Right,
would be ideal.
Okay.
So the pickleball is like the 4.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, we have only 1 on a tennis court. The only real major drawback to that is the tennis net is higher than a pickleball net.
Okay.
Ideally, if you had to have that situation, if there was a crank that you can raise it and lower it and adjust it, might work. Right now, it's kind of, you really can't budge it right now. But not that I'm suggesting we do that, but that would be a way of improving what we currently have, but this would be even better.
I mean, yeah, we talked about this the last 2 meetings, but we wanted the input
Yeah,
from you guys,
right,
obviously.
Public feedback.
Yeah, thanks for
That'd be
asking.
great, yes.
If you're gonna put 4 pickleball courts on 1 tennis court, you need something to divide.
That's
Yeah,
what we're
yeah.
talking about, yeah. And it wouldn't be that bad, I mean, expense wise.
No, I mean, the health center's got that temporary fencing that they move around.
We would just need it like some storage, figure out
Oh,
where we would
yeah,
put.
yeah, yeah,
That's one of the things we have to look at.
that's a good point.
And as far as the scheduling issues go, can I suggest maybe that like somebody from the tennis side and somebody from the pickleball side can get together and like, we have all winter to figure it out.
Yeah.
Right, between now and next spring, figure out how you guys want to do it, you know? And maybe just like once a month, instead of bothering Jimmy, you can come back to me and just let me know how you're doing and I'll give feedback, and then when you finally come to some sort of a plan, we'll talk about it.
There's a significant number of out-of-town
That's
people who
right.
came this year.
Yeah.
And so I know how we schedule somebody from there.
That's what seems to be, putting a schedule on a public court seems a little scary. Because people are gonna show up and they're gonna say, I don't know what to see the schedule.
No,
I don't get
I
into it.
agree.
So there was and then this idea is not gonna go over well, but I was suggested to think out of the box.
Yeah.
Dedicate the Classic to pickleball and Rangeley to tennis or vice versa, whatever. So
Well-
there isn't this conflict.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying with you guys, you know, talk about that, talk about whatever you wanna talk about, and, you know.
Because, but we're not, but like I said, we're not a league, we're not an organization, so there is, we don't have a representative,
Right.
you know, that
Well,
will
it's like
speak for
pick
everyone.
you.
This summer, you wouldn't believe how many courts call asking what's the pickleball schedule, what's, you know, thinking there's like 2 separate schedules. I mean, I had it all summer.
Yeah.
And just,
Because the other thing is too, is I mean, if 3 pickleball courts are taken, there's no tennis left, right? And so you can partially, you only get full maximization,
Yeah.
full maximization if it's 2 or 4 pickleballs, right?
that's why somehow if we could figure out 4 on 1 court and having it divide, you know, it would kind of help the situation.
Well, that's what happens if you get 3, if you get 3 groups playing, the 3 pickleballs take up 2 tennis courts.
Well, I think it's fair to say an hour use, but this particular most recent incident that happened at the tennis courts was like 24 people. And then 4 tennis people came in and it was like, we're 24 people, yes, we get an hour, but we've been waiting, you know, to get on back on the courts and it just like was frustrating.
That's why I
And I know Amy is receptive to the
And
problem.
that's why I think we need to coordinate some, I agree with you, it's public and it doesn't sound like we should schedule.
Well, that's the key word, is the public court.
Yeah, and I think that's key, we need to keep that in mind, but you still have to coordinate between groups regardless of that issue. I think that's, or, just.
But I think as it's growing, as this is growing,
Yeah.
we're talking today,
Yeah.
in 2 years from now, that we'll be talking about the same mess.
Yeah.
And that's why it almost feels like, right now, dedicate a pickleball area and a tennis court.
I'm fine
They
with
don't
that.
go together real well.
Yeah.
You have 1 court in the share, sure, but now we get the luxury of 2, we got 2 setups.
2
So-
spaces.
Yeah,
That would make it a lot simpler.
It just, I'm on the outside, but I heard about the conflicts that happened in the tennis court. It just didn't sound like range people fighting.
No,
about
it shouldn't be
playtime.
that
no, it
way.
was
it's just
stupid
not-
because it was over one day, one time.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, that's,
you know?
yeah, everybody has a different perspective on it.
But let's be clear, Amy, thanks to Amy, from a tennis perspective, we have 36 people, we don't send them all at one time. So I just wanna make that very clear, we only send 4 people, it's not that there's no interest in tennis, it's just that she has to coordinate.
Yeah,
So,
and we find that they aren't arranged courts besides Thursday during the week. There aren't pickleball, that many people playing there at all.
I think the best way to go forward with this is to find a spokesperson for each group, or 2, maybe 2 from each group. And we all sit together at some point, you know, talk about rules
Yeah.
and, you know, how we can manage.
The other thing I would say is even if you do decide to go with a dedicated court in the Classic, I would still paint the lines for
Yes.
both.
Absolutely.
Yes.
On both,
Absolutely.
because you never know what the future's gonna hold.
Yeah. Cause you would think that if the court's empty and tennis, somebody wants to play tennis, play tennis,
Right.
right? You know, even if it's supposed to be the dedicated to pickleball, and then I think you have to kind of work with, if somebody pickleball shows up, but I think you're absolutely right, maximize the use of the courts.
Yeah, and you know, in the future too is, wouldn't it be great if it was an indoor court?
Okay, you're in charge.
Like especially if a Classic is so self-contained, if somehow, well, you don't know, maybe it would
We need a
pass.
curling.
Pickleball's
Maybe
wicked.
10 years down the road. it's gonna be fun.
But anyway, Rec center.
That's right.
All right, just want to bring everybody back just for a second. So is there any more feedback that anybody has regarding tennis and pickleball?
Can I make a
Go
suggestion?
right ahead.
In Portland during Oaks, maybe that spokesperson can contact them. They've got tennis courts, they've got pickleball, and they seem to get it to work. So maybe they need to talk to the rec people there or other towns.
And you guys were asking about that, you guys
That's another way of, for me to research and get ideas, I'm getting your input right now, but it's still, there's a lot to do.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, the pickle people are outside the fence waiting
Yeah.
until someone loses and then they go in, two go in,
Yeah.
and
And they
it
leave.
seems to work.
They leave the nets right out, they just have on the side, so people either be playing tennis, you play pickleball, you roll them in, you roll them out.
Yeah, if you could maybe just get a cover for the nets. Waterproof cover and leave the nets right at the courts.
They can be
Easily be taken.
The tennis nets.
But I agree with you, Pat, I don't want to solve it here.
No,
I think we probably should pick a representative for
Well,
each.
that's what I'm saying.
I agree with that.
But right now, I'm just getting feedback,
Yeah.
seeing what you guys are telling me, using that to help me figure this out, so.
I'm not clear about
Thanks for inviting us.
Thank you guys for coming and your input.
I'm not clear about the public. The public park.
But it's been, you're not saying that we're not gonna
It's a
schedule
public
next year.
court.
No, I get that, but I mean, it's been like decades that, they've scheduling this, we'll all meet at the tennis courts at 9.
Yeah.
Groups that's here forever. You're not saying that we're not gonna schedule next year.
In the past, 5 years, this handball has just grown into something.
I'm not saying to not cooperate and come up with
No,
a plan, but what I'm saying is, I don't care if it's pickleball or tennis, I just think that we should have a dedicated time for the people that have been doing this all this time to be able to play, and that I'm just trying to clarify, you're not saying that when the schedule comes out and it says 9 o'clock on Tuesday, and I get there and we've been doing this for decades, and then there's other people there, we're just not gonna play, right? Is that what you're saying?
No, this is exactly,
No,
you're explaining the problem that we face.
I mean, I think,
This is the.
I'm not
that's what-
saying every day or every hour, or whatever. I'm just saying, can't we just at least allot a particular time for pickleball and tennis to just definitely have, it can only even be one day
Being
a
a
week, I
public
just
court
want
though, it's kind of
definitely.
hard to if I do it for this group, I gotta do it for every group. It just, and then it becomes a bigger problem.
Well, there could be more groups though, just because, I think what he's saying is that just because this group has been going on for however long it's been going on, we have more people coming, more groups. If they know that, okay, well, we can form a set group.
But what are the groups besides pickleball and tennis group? What groups
No,
are we talking
but
about?
different sets of
Summer
them.
groups.
Could
Like
be a
you
summer
guys
group
have
for
your own
pickleball
group.
Around
or-
summer.
Yeah.
Different
Well, I
tennis
would-
people come to town, different pickleball people come to town, maybe not.
I don't mind, you can squeeze them into the schedule too, I'm just saying, I think we should be allowed to go there when we say we're gonna go there, because it's hard enough for everyone to schedule time, we wanna know that we show
This
up
is
on
stuff we're gonna work
Thursdays,
out
Sundays,
in the
and-
future moving forward. That's why I'm
Yeah.
saying, like, if we
Right
get a
now it's just
spokesperson for each.
Can we
group,
agree on a
can talk-
spokesperson?
We can talk about this.
Amy's ours.
Well, I think
I'll
you
do it
should just
'cause I
like
live
that
here,
here,
so
I think if you
here.
both do it, I mean, I
Yeah.
just think two,
Yeah.
at least two for free.
I can work with
Yeah,
that,
because,
yeah.
it's not fair,
Yeah,
I
you
feel
get
like the all
two
the pressure on
pickleball
one
people.
person.
Jeff, I would find, I'm the only one who plays every other day in whole sports, probably in this room.
That would be.
I switch back and forth, and so I wouldn't mind having a say.
Yeah, we could just, I'm gone for one, but we can have Zoom meetings and we'll figure it out.
And
If there-
also-
if there's somebody that we can just get an email address or something from, and you can reach out to them when we're ready to have some more
Yeah, I
conversation.
would volunteer to represent pickleball as well as someone else. will.
Mary.
I said two.
Mary.
Said two.
Yeah. But she does both.
I do both, but I'm
So that's like 3 tennis and 1 pickleball.
Also, if you do put up a sign, I think you should, Pat, I'm proposing that if you do put up a new sign that says tennis and pickleball. I know, but if you do, you should put something for Deb Ryder. Deb Ryder?
Hopefully, I see you in February.
Christmas.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Your email address right there for that, we're the two reps for tennis.
Are we supposed to be signed like
So what's Kelly doing? Get out of here.
No need for it.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Hey, have a good night, thanks for coming.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Want to continue on?
Yes, let us continue on. We're always time to return, isn't it?
Make a motion to adjourn.
So, I'm back up to public to speak, but nobody's here, so. All right, review of the minutes from our September 28th meeting. Entertain any motions to accept those.
Make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all approved? All in favor? Jeez, so perfect. All screwed up tonight. Do we have any correspondence, Pat? Nothing there. All right, park use permits. I have one for the Giving Tree here.
Wow,
The lighting of the Giving Tree.
crazy.
Does that say this 36th? Wow.
I have the original for you.
All right, nice. So November 25th, excuse me, 46 o'clock. And
Oh, sure, now we're back to where we actually are. Here we
Yes.
go, here we go.
Sorry,
All right,
sorry,
no,
sorry,
no,
down to
give me
number 8 there. So yeah, everything just like they've done in the past, there's been no issues with any other departments in the town office, I'm assuming, police or fire or anything, so
It's a big event, everybody's,
What's the
you
date?
know,
definitely, no,
the lights are up too, we took the old ones down, the lights are up, and we're just fixing the star.
the
They
original,
put new lights up?
Yep.
the
Got that all figured out,
Oh, we got it.
finally, it's a nightmare.
the tree's still there, right, because we had talked during
It is, I called,
Yes, what happened to that?
there's a company out of Kingfield that I'm looking to get a quote,
McClure's,
for a replacement next year.
McClure's,
McClure's.
Adam, he's a good guy.
11.
Because back when we were discussing the war monument, there was talk about replacing the tree back there, because that was kind of
Yes.
a little big, so yeah, I just hadn't thought about it till I just saw. that.
There's some gaps in it, you know, and if you get under the tree, you can really see it.
Oh, yeah, yeah, but, okay, good, so that's still going the way. So, I'll entertain a motion to, approve the Giving Tree lighting permit.
Motion to accept the permit.
No second.
Motion and a second, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? So moved, all right, new business, signage in town park.
You know, the biggest thing was just the pickleball, tennis, but, you know, since we were talking about that signage, you know, there is things that can be updated. You know, in the boat dock area to handicap parking, I mean, there's a few spots where it's really the tricky signage.
And that's another thing we've talked about over the years, is kind of making everything look a little more uniform.
Yes.
And that's just townwide, not
Yeah.
necessarily the park, just instead of 5 different kinds of signs.
And another thing too, is that you go down to the boat ramp area, you know, where the trailer parking is, that eye drop should be paved. I mean, if you go down there and you see the trailers that are parked, you know, sometimes they park in car spots and then they're in the eye drop. It just, I don't know, the eye drop seems to be more of a problem.
Because that's all clear, there's nothing in there now,
No,
right? So,
it
yeah.
used to be a flower garden.
Yeah, right,
Right.
so I agree, I think it should be too. I mean,
Yeah.
even when it
I
wasn't.
mean, you could
fall
probably
down,
gain a
wrong.
few spots by doing it, maybe. The trailer parking lots.
So to just talking about that signage in the park, and I know a while back, we discussed what we wanted as far as over in,
Chamber parking lot?
just, no, kind of reiterating what park protocols or rules we wanted, back up, because when they did the improvement, that sign that was there came down. And we had discussed a couple times, like what did we feel was important to be on that sign as far as
So,
park
When
rules.
you come up to the boat ramp area, you got that big green sign that states, you know, the time when the car closes opens. There's nothing over by the bathrooms. I
Yeah,
believe
because
it
there used to
There
be
used
one,
to
and I think it came down when they did the
Yeah.
whole, and then when Keith was here, he had brought up, I would like to go over, you know, new signage and what do we feel is the most important stuff that we wanted to
Cause there
have on
needs
that.
to be something
I
like that
agree.
over there.
I agree,
Yeah.
so. At some point, I guess that's something that should be done, whether it's what we decide or if it just replicates as a duplicate of whatever's on the other side. I don't know if it is the same, if it's applicable, if it's all the same, if it's more dock
It's,
and
I
boat
believe it's
stuff on that
mentioned,
side.
I believe the dock is mentioned in that one.
Okay.
There's no beach, well, it needs to be updated too, cause I think there's something that says no beach of boats or, you know, I think it was before the dock system was put in.
Okay.
You know, can't beach a boat or so and so after hours. I gotta look at it and figure it out, but. There, I mean, new signage, updated signs, there is definitely some work to do.
Good, as long as that's on the radar, so that's good. And which brings us into the boat launch dock lighting, you gave us some information on that.
Couple examples, I mean, trying to see with the Black Sky Initiative.
Yeah,
Did this come from last meeting? Was this discussed last meeting?
Yeah,
With our Easy Go dock system, you got some lights here that actually stick into it's like a plug-in type, right into the dock.
okay.
It's solar light, and
Yeah.
basically it brings the light down on the water or across the actual walkway.
I like
yeah, that'd be kind
Yeah.
of cool.
The one
Yeah.
that sits
that.
down.
Great.
And where you got these slips, like the boat comes into, it actually, I mean, in the picture, it shows, it lights up the water area where it's overloaded. The other thing too is having maybe two of those pole lights on the very end of the dock where it, when you're coming in, you can actually see it.
See that
Okay.
up, right? Yeah.
And again, and this is just, I mean, doing research, I mean, if you had other ideas, I mean,
That's a great idea. I was wondering what those little holes were for on the dock. But, and you don't even have that many, you know, you don't have to have.
so
Yeah.
though, they're mainly to connect, they're used to connect links. to-
Oh, they are, that's kind of.
But you can also, and they have these lights that fill in those spots.
Oh, I see, gotcha. Yeah, so, you know. A few of those and a couple of pole lights.
I mean, we probably wouldn't go, like you see in the picture, we wouldn't go like 5 in a row, they'd be more spread out, but.
Yeah. Yeah, and a couple, of like you said, a couple on the pole in the end.
It's the boundaries of the dock for a night.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
Yeah, that's cool.
Any idea what those cost or anything?
I think I was looking, there was a 2-pack for like 54 or something. But, yeah, I gotta look into it, you know, look at the, you know, comments, you know, how are they, you know, highly recommended, stuff like that, so.
They last a year or 5
Yeah.
years or?
Right.
But they're solar lights, I mean, they're generated by the sun, so.
So they're also.
It would be hard to, you know, and have to be solar out there.
Yeah, that
Oh,
was,
yeah.
that was a silly question. for
Definitely.
me. I don't know where it is.
All right.
I mean, I think that looks the best. I mean, if that looks really nice, so if that's something that you
Yeah.
could
And
look
it keeps the
into
light
price
down.
wise and like how many realistically would we need? I mean,
We're coming into budget season too, so it's stuff I can play for.
Is that something you want us to make a vote on, or are you just gonna?
I guess we can vote on it, and right now I was mainly talking about it, you know, it's something that we should keep talking about, because I wanted to keep on researching, seeing, you know, getting an idea of if there's anything better, but that's the best I've seen yet.
The dock's on the water?
Yes, as of today.
I was just curious. Get an idea how many we might need, but.
Yeah, they came out today, actually.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I like that, and I trust that if that's the best that you've seen. I do like that they just fit in there and you don't have to worry about, you know, anything
the
else.
one thing I want to look at is the duration of the life.
Yeah.
Right.
Span, I mean, how long do they last?
So maybe if you can check into that and maybe next meeting, if we can just kind of make a final decision if that's the route we should go, and then maybe you could budget for that. Does that work?
Yeah, figure out quantity, what we're looking at, yeah.
Yeah, I have some for my dock, and technology's come a long way. Mine have lasted like 4 years, they were like, $15, $20 a piece or something. So I bet you they do well.
You put the lights in every winter, don't you? You bring those inside, or you leave them right in the dock?
No, I take them out.
Yeah.
Yep. Just took them out today too.
All right then, so continuing business, Lake and Library Loop.
I don't really have anything except, Larry from the state, he's working on the kiosk still, the design. I didn't print anything, but this is like a rough draft he has. The color of the color picture of the fish is just as an example, that's what it
Oh,
looked like
nice.
eventually, but that's what the book and the fish swimming And then next to it, there'll be a map, and then on top it'll say like Library Route. And he's working on the kiosk, like the one that's up at,
Yeah, that color is awesome.
with Willow. So yeah, I don't know who's doing the sketching, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like it.
Nice. And then on the books, you have names of local authors, and stuff, titles,
Yeah.
Stephen King book, you know, that's it. So he's still plugging away.
Slow
That's all I got.
and
Slow
steady.
and steady, baby.
Gonna come together yet.
Yeah.
Dog park in town, do we have any other information or?
It's still ongoing, still waiting to hear from the director from Brunswick,
Mhm.
he hasn't gotten back to me. I've left him 2 emails, but he talked to me a while back, said he was gonna contact me, so he must be busy, and I haven't extended my research yet. I was hoping to hear from him and then take it from there, but still ongoing.
All right. Well, we're moving somewhere, that's good. Playground install update.
I drove down there today.
So we got our parts in, yes, 2 days ago. And then Earl was down doing the excavation and we moved the spinner and the V to the other side of the swing set. And got everything excavated, I mean, everything kind of leveled out and ready for installation, once we get the company's crew up to install.
Oh, okay.
So can I ask a question? The like the barrier that's around it right now, is that just was that just the generalized outline of like?
Yep. That
What is
includes the
that?
safety zone, everything.
That's
So-
basically the safety zone,
Yeah,
that's how.
The
much
outer
it-
edges are
Okay.
basically the edges of the safety
So
zone.
that you can see that, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like, that's not too bad. It does go, I encouraged you to like take a ride down, just so you can see, it does go a little down into, closer to the beach than I think I was expecting that it would, but I think it will be fine, honestly. And that's all going to be. What's the words, like wood chips or something?
Yes,
Right there, until that, to that line, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is that we decide to put down, or whatever's being put down, okay. I mean, I think it looks good. It's nice. When it's all in there.
Is wood chips the preferred
yeah,
substance they put in?
we could have gone that rubberized top,
I was gonna ask about that too.
then maintenance wise, and then you got the geese, and then. There's nothing on there, and I'll tell you, you know, being where I was at for the last 6 years, cleaning the park, doing the goose machine. They never touched the wood chips.
Really?
Really?
It's gotta be that on level, yeah, and just that feeling.
Well, it'll be less cleanup then, because it's
Yeah,
down
right,
into the, towards the beach more, so it'll be less of that, which is.
But I mean, yeah,
nice.
I've never had an issue with goose poop.
Oh,
Interesting.
hey, whatever.
I mean, it's all around it, where the grass is, I mean, just when you get on there, this,
I don't like the feel of it.
you know, I guess.
See, we
It's
did
not a
a
stable
favor
ground.
by expanding the
There you
playground.
go.
We solved a problem.
I can't believe we're talking about installation.
I know, it's
I know.
awesome, so cool.
I'm still trying to,
It's been a long time. I'm very
DB, I'm
excited.
waiting for a reply, he got back to me and said that he was gonna connect about the additional sand on the beach. Trying to get the regulations, rules,
Okay.
he's gonna connect me to another person. And he's supposed to contact me. They wanna know exactly what the plan was, you know, are you going landward or towards the water? But biggest thing is getting the regulations and the rules, what do we have to do, you know, permit wise. But hoping to get more sand on the beach.
That would be fabulous.
Now, those swings staying there, or those? come out?
Yes.
Those are staying there?
Yep.
I was just thinking, I never thought about expanding the beach back.
The biggest thing is getting sand down there, but if we're able to bring it back 5 feet or, you know, just that lip right there, and if you go down there, there's a lip there, if you just kind of smooth it
If you
out.
can, yeah, if, just like grade it almost like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But DEP regulations, I mean,
Yeah, I have to be careful with all that.
when you're that close to the water, it's just, you gotta know your rules.
And we're still number one on the docket for the dock this winter, correct?
As far as, that's what's been said, so.
Yeah. That'll be here for so that'll be good to get that. All right, comp plan directives. Anybody have take a look at them, have any issues or questions or suggestions?
I have a really,
Okay, no, that's fine, just curious.
I actually talked with Steve Hewens today.
Oh, yeah,
We sat down for like an hour,
thanks.
you know, talked everything about rec, the future, and, you know, 10 years down the road. And because I guess he was put on a job for the recreational side of things on the golf course.
Okay.
So we had a nice discussion today.
Yeah.
You know, everything from where the park's going and infrastructure. More of the recreational side of things than the park, but I mean, the rec, you know, relates to the park in a way, so.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing I brought up is having that, you know, rec center or infrastructure, you know, instead, because right now I told them, you know, the majority of the events we have are pop-ups. You know, because we don't have that. If you go down to Farmington, they have a rec center, they have a gym, they have a rock climbing wall inside, they have all these rooms where they could have bingo for the elderly, they could have all this, you know.
Would be nice.
It's a set spot rather
Yeah,
than just
and then-
where can we go?
Because we have a lot of events during the summer, but when it comes to winter, I mean, our hands are tied. I mean, there's not a whole lot we can do because we borrow the gym at the school or, you know.
And even then, you're limited unfortunately to weekends because we have one gym.
Yeah.
No.
And you have 3 or 4 teams practicing in there, and so you're looking at having availability at 8 o'clock at night. What are you gonna do at 8 o'clock at night?
Transportation, you know, I mentioned that to Steve. You know, if we had some kind of a transport van or something that, you know, you bring the other, like a group of people shopping for the weekend that can't get out of town. You know, these are like some of the rec programs you could do if you had, you know, the option to be able to do it. So,
the basketball rec, that's just on weekends too? Is that a Sunday or? Is it-
yeah,
yeah.
the open gyms are Sundays, ladies are like 3 to 5, and then we're doing the men's 5 to 7.
On Sundays?
Yeah.
Cause, you know, actually, a pickleball person brought up, would that be an option to play once in a while there in the winter time or something? I don't know.
I think they would look at what could potentially be the damage to the
Yeah.
floor,
Hmm.
only because they refinish it, because one, it's a classroom,
And then you got a
and
line,
then it's,
line
yeah,
court.
Oh, you have to line it.
yeah, so that's the only, I think, that would be the hardest
Right,
part,
right,
just
right,
knowing
right.
how
Except
it
the-
works.
If the lines go down, they'd probably be down, you know, you wouldn't take it
Yeah, it
off.
would be
you know.
like
Right,
tape, and you
right.
would wanna do, yeah, could make it hard
Yeah.
during the season,
Right.
I would think.
Yep, yep.
That's one of those things that we had at rec center.
Yeah. There's volleyball lines up there, aren't there? At the high school?
I don't know that they actually have them on the floor.
I think they are, because we played there with that
I know,
that
yeah, we had played,
crappy net.
yes.
Hmm.
But I don't know if the lines are actually on the floor. They
I
might be,
I think they're there.
yeah, they're the white ones, I think.
White ones, right,
Yeah, the
right,
white
right,
ones,
right, but I digress,
Yeah, sorry.
so.
That's all right, so, all right, if you guys do have a chance to look through those directives and have any inputs, the comp plan is, the committee is grinding forward. You got a good group,
Who's Steve Ewan?
he's on the park.
He's part of the committee.
Is he like a local? I know it's Steve Ewan, but it's not, is it a big guy, not a big guy, just, no?
It's about your size, I mean.
Yeah.
But his primary objective is learning about parks and recreation. Trying to get the information all he can to bring to the committee.
We got a project ahead of us up there,
Let's see if I can find the comp plan, I was to look at it.
All right. Anybody have anything else? Nothing,
No,
huh?
sir.
All right, well, next meeting is November 16th, 5 P.M. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
I'll say.
Motion and second, all in favor. So moved, 5:55. I guess with that room full of people, it didn't do too bad.
Oh, really? That was good.
It was, I mean, they're the ones that,
Yeah, yeah.
I was